In today's globalized world, it is almost impossible to disregard diversity everywhere we go. Singapore is a great example. Try walking down Orchard Road. Chances are you'll come across people of diverse backgrounds at a stone's throw. This in turn would impact diversity in the workplace, and being able to communicate well is key to building strong interpersonal relationships with our co-workers. Based on cultural theory, what is diversity? Diversity is the variety of experiences and perspectives arising from differences in demographic variables.
Our Heavenly Father, the fount of all goodness and grace, the cause of wisdom, the source of intelligence, we welcome you, O Lord, to this auspicious gathering of your beloved, who continuously give you thanks for every opportunity to learn something new and become fruitful to the works of your creation. We humbly come to you, not because we are worthy, but because we find ourselves in need of you, who is our strength and our hope, to continue despite the challenges we face in health, prosperity, and our solidarity with one another. We pray that today's gathering, made possible by the grace of advancements in technology and social media, become successful in its endeavors, so we can offer it back to you as our humble offering to honor you, glorify you, and love you through our deeper connection with everyone. May we find bliss in today's session and become more productive children and co-creators of the earth. This we ask and pray through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, helas ng sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong bangaw, ay hinagang tulakaw,
Good day, everyone. Welcome to webinar today via Zoom. I would like to thank the audience because we have a big numbers of attendees. Thank you for taking your time to be with us. We are very glad. Before anything else, we would like to acknowledge the presence of multicultural diversity in workplace of tourism professional instructor, Mrs. Marife Larin, and also my group mates, Miss Iryn Moral, Miss Laila Mariano, Miss Chrisbelle Joy Nadong, and Mr. Vincent Navarro and Mark Justin Mangubat. So, what we do for this live session, we have prepared a discussion about multicultural diversity, workplace topic, and three of our chosen professionals who work hard and have experience in different parts of the world. And now, I will proceed to introduction dialogue. To ensure organized and productive sessions for all participants, please observe the following rules. Number 1, participants must keep their cameras and microphones off unless instructs to switch it on. Next, today's training session will run for about an hour while waiting. We encourage to take a break or to go restroom that you can avoid leaving during the session. And next, we strongly encourage you to listen presentation. And this session will be recorded for any documentation's purposes. And for last, we encourage participants to post their insights on social media using hashtag. Hashtag DTT Multicultural Diversity 2022, or you may tag us at RCPC-MDC-BA on Twitter or at RCPC Multi-Diversity Committee. And now, before anything else, I will introduce the first speaker. Is a Pelumenian third-year college student, a graduating TESDA scholar. Let me introduce to you Mr. Justin Mangubat.
Good day, everyone. In today's topic, we will be discussing first the multicultural diversity in workplace for the tourism professional, where we explain the concept of cultural diversity and workplace, diversity in tourism and hospitality industry. We are also tend to discuss about the management and issues of cultural diversity and the study on the impact on cultural diversity, wherein we can ask ourselves that if you would like to live or work in a place where everyone is the same, or also known as homogeneous, or is different, also known as heterogeneous. Now, cultural diversity. The cultural diversity culture are the set of common beliefs and practices that a person shares with a group, according to Robbins et al. In year 2006, wherein these are the values, beliefs, attitudes, languages, symbols, rituals, behaviors, and customs unique to a particular group of people that are passed down from generation to generation. The cultural identity is when how people recognize where they belong diversity, while the word diversity relates to individual and groups with different socio-economic backgrounds and physical capabilities who engage in variety of languages, people of all ages, genders, races, ethnicity, and sexual orientation. This diversity are vary of human characteristics, someone's ideas, worldviews, age, experiences in life, disability, including mental, learning, and physical, economic background, education, ethnicity, gender identity, including the geographic background, the language spoken, the marital or partnered status, including the physical appearance, the race, political affiliation, the religious beliefs, sexual orientation, veteran status, and more. Now, the cultural diversity in tourism and hospitality, wherein the globalization and internationalization is the current trend, where it makes people moving work and live with people with diverse background. Cultural diversity also can create conflict, wherein in hospitality industry, it has a great dimension of cultural diversity from the staff, from the guest and tourist. The people who travel around the world because of cultural diversity, they experience advance of computer technology, efficient communication system. When it comes to transportation, whether it's budgeted or high class, and easy to book accommodation. The cultural diversity in tourism hospitality will work, or the industry work, in very complex multicultural tourism environment. The the industry must understand the perception of culture and the role of national culture and how impact to tourist behavior. So we are expected to we are responsible to reduce the gap of cultural distance in workplace. Now I will be giving to you the importance of cultural diversity. Where cultural diversity, it makes companies long-term value. It create long-term value to every companies. It also includes the hospitality industry. It's growing, wherein it expand the ability to speak in different language, and we've been able to understand and more respect other religion and beliefs, and gaining mutual respect. Because of cultural diversity, we also increase creativity and create more excitement in life as we gain new attitudes and have different side of view. In cultural diversity, we even though there is a conflict, there is a conflict resolution that minimize the potential risk. That is because of cultural diversity. Also, it can be a great business reputation wherein we build trust from customers from different nationalities. It also includes job promotion and increased exposure and knowledge. To continue the discussion, may I call on Miss Laila Mariano?
Thank you, Ms. Mark Justin Mangubat. Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Laila Mariano, PWU third year tourism students. Thank you for taking the time to join us today as we talk about multicultural diversity in the workplace. So let's start with understanding types of culture. The first one is corporate culture. The term corporate culture widely used in research professionals and managers in many organizations all over the world, especially in Japan and Americans. The system of shared beliefs, values, and standards of solving problems, which is created in the forming and developing process of corporation and demonstrated through physical and non-physical forms and behaviors of its member. The great corporate culture includes the vision, mission, values, practices, people, narrative, tagline, and place. Here are the 5 examples of companies with fantastic culture. Number 1 is Zappos. Zappos is a cultural fit interview. It is a shoes that sells online. Also, Zappos hires according to cultural fit first and foremost. And when there is a new employees, they offer $2,000 to quit after the first week of training if they decide the job isn't for them. And also this promotes the culture and happy employees, which is ultimately leads to a happy customer. Next is Warby Parker. Has been making and selling prescription glasses online since 2010. It designed its own glasses and sells directly to customers, cutting out the middleman and keeping prices low. The word culture crashes means that team have a positive culture is on the forefront, setting up fun lunches, events, and programs. And they make sure the entire team works well together by insisting everyone helps keep break areas clean or sending random employees out to lunch together. And next is AirAsia. AirAsia is a huge company with a lot of employees. And Tony Fernandez, he wanted a company where people can pursue their dreams. They advise openness and want people to be creative and passionate about what they do. Also, their employees can communicate directly with Tony and provide suggestions on how AirAsia can be more productive and efficient. Now, let's move on to the next topic, which is regional culture. In anthropology and geography, a culture region, culture sphere, and culture area, these are often associated with an ethno-linguistic group and the habits. Culture region is an area inhabited by people who have one or more cultural traits in common, such as language, religion, or system of livelihood. It is an area that is relatively homogeneous with regards to one or more cultural traits. The geographer who identifies a formal culture region must locate cultural borders because culture overlap and mix such boundaries and are rarely sharp even if only a single cultural trait is mapped. When we say cultural differences, it may be language, food, custom, religion, economic activity, and parenting style. Next is culture of various socioeconomic. Socioeconomic status, or SES, is an economic and sociological combined total measure of a person's work experience and of an individual or family's economic and social position in relation to others based on economic income, education, and occupation. Socioeconomic diversity has a mix of people, staff, students from different income levels, social backgrounds, and in some cases, racial and ethnic backgrounds. Aside from that, socioeconomic groups refers to a person's position in society, structural and functional system. It involves an activity, occupation, occupational status, and industry. And that can be classified according to socioeconomic, which is the upper level, medium level, and lower level poor. Social class refers to a group of people with similar levels of wealth, influence, and status. Sociologists typically use three methods to determine the social class. So let's go to the lower class first. It is a poverty, homeless, and unemployment that suffers from lack of medical care, adequate house and food, decent clothing, and safety. Those minimally educated people who engage in manual labor with little or no prestige. For instance, if you are in skilled workers, it may be dishwasher, cashiers, maids, and waitress. While if you are skilled workers in the class, it may be carpenters, plumbers, and electricians. Next is the middle class. And in the middle class, we have two types, the lower middle class and the upper middle class. When we say lower middle class, it is a less educated people with lower income, such as managers, small business owners, and teachers. And the upper middle class is highly educated business and professionals, people with high incomes, such as doctors, lawyers, stockbrokers, and CEOs. And lastly is the upper class. Same as the middle class, we have also two types, the lower upper class and the upper class. The lower upper class are those with new money or money made from investment, business ventures, and so forth. While the upper class are those aristocratic and high society families with old money who have been rich for generations, more prestigious than the lower upper class. So the great examples of upper class is the movie Titanic. If you watch their love story between lower class and the upper class, Jack and Rose, both come from different spectrums of social strata. Rose comes from a fluent family and engaged to a wealthy man, whereas Jack is a lower class artist. We have also example of socioeconomic diversity at school. The upper income families, it means they send their children to private school because they view the education and security as superior to that of public schools. And when we say medium or lower income, they send their kids to a public school. This recent study found that an institution with a socioeconomically diverse student body has more frequent interaction across class, which in turn are associated with higher levels of cross-racial interaction and engagement in diversity-related activities overall. So let's proceed to culture of various age group. It is age diversity, which is the acceptance of all age group in workforce. Age diversity offers a positive advantages for healthy organization, just like any other sort of diversity in work and life. Treating people fairly regardless of age is central to the principles of ethical business and ethical organization. Now, let's continue with how organization can get benefit by team that have age differences in workplace. Number one is diverse skill set. It creates an environment where each generation brings different skills and talents to the table. The second one is young professionals grew up in a high-tech world and have greater familiarity with business technology tools compared to their more mature staff. And then the third one is the age diversity gives business the advantage of being able to communicate and deal with customers across all age spectrum. Next is age group where companies value knowledge, experience, and skill above age, seniority, or gender. Employees of all ages have the opportunity to teach, share, and learn from one another. Lastly, the senior workers can share deeper industry knowledge or offer And that's all for our discussion. We hope you enjoy and learn something new to our presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Justine Mangubat and Ms. Laila Mariano. Now, for the main part, we have the special guests who will be sharing their experience with us. Before we start, let our dear Mr. Vincent Navarro introduce to you our first guest.
Good day, everyone. Our first guest for this live session. She is a school academic director in Singapore. At the age of 40, she is currently positioned as senior academic director, none other than Mrs. Annalyn de Guzman. Good afternoon, Ms. Annalyn. Could you please share with us your experience in working abroad and with working with other nationalities?
Okay, so at first, let me introduce myself. So my name is Annalyn de Guzman. I'm currently the Senior Academic Director in one of the private school here in Singapore. For nearly, with this company, I've been working here for more than 10 years now. All right, I've started as an OFW, looking for a job opportunity here in Singapore. That was in 2008. Okay, and then I was a teacher in Philippines since 2003 to 2008. Okay, so I've been teaching hospitality and tourism management in one of the private school in Bataan. And then in 2008, I've started to work here in Singapore. I thought I will be starting my career working in the industry. But when I first came here, 2008, after 2 weeks of searching a job, I've got the opportunity to work in one of the school as the head of the hospitality and tourism management course here in Singapore. Your topic is about cultural diversity. Working abroad is actually a challenge that you need to be prepared. Right. So when I first came here in Singapore and teach 2008, up to date, I'm still teaching students from different countries with different nationalities. So talking about cultural diversity, I think I can share with you a lot of my experience that I hope it will be able to help you to prepare in your future career. Okay? Okay, you can start with your question.
Okay, ma'am. Are you aware to any cultural diversity?
Yes. Actually, when you say cultural diversity, we are talking about different culture, different belief of different people. Okay, so definitely there is a cultural diversity, whichever industry you work, wherever you are. Even you are there in the Philippines, you will definitely encounter cultural diversity. So yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. Before going to Singapore, do you think about cultural groups you might encounter?
Okay. Working abroad, actually at first was a very tough decision for me because teaching in Philippines is really like where I've started my career. So when I've decided to work here and started to teach here in Singapore, definitely cultural diversity here is very common. So when I accepted that I will be working as an OFW abroad, I already know cultural diversity will be there. Yes.
In the country you choose to work on, do you consider studying their culture, religion, their ethnicity, language, and health differences, and especially geographic location? If yes, explain, and if no, why not?
Okay, I will just be sharing with you when I first started to teach here in Singapore. That was in 2008. Can you imagine? I was teaching all Filipino students for 5 years of teaching in Philippines with a very comfort zone of delivering the lesson in our native language. And then suddenly 360 adjust my in the Philippines. I can say teaching hospitality and tourism for 5 years there, where I've actually started the course, developed the course, and then when I came here to Singapore to teach different people, different students, Singaporean, Indians, Malaysians, Filipinos, what else? Sri Lankan, American, Brazilian. Can you imagine? In just one classroom, I need to deliver the lesson, which was actually my expertise, to teach it in different people with different nationalities, with different level of understanding when it comes to English language. That was a very tough and challenging role that I played in 2008. But then I actually say cannot. I need to adjust myself. It's not the students who will adjust for my way of teaching. It's me as a teacher should adjust. So what I've done, I really study their language because if you know, Singapore, 80-90% of the people here can speak in English. But the English here, there is a local dialect as Singlish. So it's a Singapore English. So maybe somehow by now, with this industry for 13 years, you can somehow observe how I talk. This is not how I talk when I was teaching in the Philippines, delivering the lesson in English. But teaching students with different nationalities, I need to adjust myself by studying the way how they pronounce the words, their culture. In the Philippines, students still actually how to say when the teacher say, because for me last time when I look at the student, they know already whether they are doing not according to my considering the students are from different countries. The way they talk, maybe for me it's rude because here it can be name first name basis. They can just call me Annalyn as a teacher, but it's not rude. But in Philippines, when I was teaching there, when you call me as Annalyn, as your teacher, definitely you will get demerit because it shows rudeness and disrespect to the teacher, isn't it? But here, it's accepted. So that's the first thing that I've adjusted myself as a teacher here. And also the way they talk to the teacher, the way they answer you as a student because of the level of English that they also have in their own language, in their own country. Can you just imagine that they are from different countries, and then when they come here to Singapore, they've also adjusted themselves mainly language and their, as a teacher, their way of how they study. Here, if you study here in Singapore, the way is totally different. Your comfort zone in your own country. So that's the main thing, that definitely ethnicity, all those are just to follow. The main thing is the language. In terms of cultural diversity, language is the main thing that I started to adjust when I started my career as a teacher here in Singapore. That was in 2008.
At first day of being in Singapore, have you experienced anything about their society? Is it good or bad? Share the experience or possible. Tell a story or scenario.
Again. When I first came here in 2008. So the question is?
Have you experienced anything about their society? Is it good or bad? Share the experience.
Okay, so society, how is Singapore? Is it compared to Philippines? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, now, actually, Singapore and Philippines is a 3.5 hour by plane. Okay, it's also an Asian country. When you come here in Singapore, you will not be surprised that you can hear people speaking in our language, because there are many Filipinos working here in Singapore. Okay, so there is no much difference. I can just give you a very simple, funny scenario in supermarket here in Singapore. When you go in supermarket here, we call it here a sweat market. When they know that you are Filipino, when you pass by, they will ask you, they will tell you, offer you, sister. Sister is like a sister, but here, as I mentioned to you before, there is here is Singlish. It's not our normal English in Philippines that we pronounce the word. Okay, so for example, sister. If in Philippines, it's sister, correct? In Singapore, it's sister. Sister. Daing. Can you imagine? They know already what is daing. That's how Singapore and Philippines is almost similar by just going to the market. Can you imagine? They will call you sister, ate, daing. Okay, what else? When you go to any supermarket here, there is a section for Filipino food. So you will not miss chiswis, pancit canton. You will not miss all those food. Why? Because Singapore already considered Philippines as one of the country that has placed here in Singapore. And I can feel that because I was given also the opportunity to hold a highest position in our school. So can you just imagine, for example, I'm from Bataan also, okay? And I couldn't imagine that an international school, my boss, who is a local here, can give me that opportunity and chance to operate her school. So even she's not around, and even she's around, she will seek all the approval from me. So that's one opportunity that I can say as a Filipino Singapore game. That's why Singapore for me is my second home already. And I did not do a big adjustment. Weather, exactly the same as Philippines. Time, no time difference. Whatever the time there in Philippines, that's also the time here in Singapore. What else? It's almost the same. The only difference is as what is your topic. Singapore is considered as a melting pot of culture. It's just a red dot in the globe, Singapore, in the globe. But when you come here, consider Singapore is a cultural what is this? Singapore is a melting pot of culture because all the cultures you can experience, you can encounter here in Singapore. So you will definitely have something like it's a one-stop shop of cultural diversity here in Singapore. So you just come here. You will not adjust. Okay, your next question.
Tell us about the language barrier scenario. Are they having a hard time speaking universal language?
Okay, Singapore, compared to other Asian countries, I've also experienced to visit other countries like India, Bangladesh, where else? And other Malaysia, Indonesia. There are other countries, but you need to really adjust yourself. But here in Singapore, no. But as I mentioned to you, here there's a dialect. We call it a Singlish. Here, R is not really that well pronounced. And when you talk here, the word la, me is always at the last word. For example, when I first, 2008, when I first teach, I really prepared for my first day of teaching, for my first day of lesson. And I'm very, very confident because I was teaching that topic for 5 years in the Philippines. But when I first came here in Singapore to teach, of course, I was still like not even a month here in Singapore. So I'm still used in our language. But immediately after my 3 hours of teaching, all my students, can you imagine, they went to my principal and told my principal, Annalyn is not good teacher. We don't understand what she's talking. I almost cry. Why? Because I prepared myself for that lesson. And I'm very, very sure what I taught them was really correct. Because it's just introduction of hospitality. Where can I make that as a mistake? But because of the way I talk, because of the delivery of the lesson, they said that they don't understand the lesson. So here, maybe first month, you will really need to adjust. You need to put your 2 ears to listen how they speak. Although it's in English, but it's Singlish. For example, we can just say in Philippines, just the simple word, okay. Let's say you agree, okay. But in in Singapore, how you pronounce it, okay lo. It's like that. Okay, law. In Philippines, okay. But in Singapore, okay, law. It's always with la. So here, every word, every sentence, okay, law. It's okay, law. That's also the accent that you really need to adjust yourself when you talk. So for me to become an effective teacher, I need to adjust my pronunciation, my language. And also, since Philippines, we use American English, correct? In Singapore, we use British English. That's why here, if we use letter Z, in Singapore, it's S. Simple word, organize. It's Z, right? Organize. In Singapore, it's organize S. So I, as a teacher, I need to adjust myself with the language. Can you imagine? To become a very good teacher here, you really need to adjust yourself with the language. That's the worst experience I had. That teach me a lesson. Because when can you imagine, all the students went to my principal, our teacher not good. Why? Because of the language barrier. But then now they love me very much. But I cannot teach them anymore. Okay, next question.
How about the economic status?
Oh, far different. I don't want to say where I teach, but I can say times 30, 40 of my salary in Philippines that I'm getting here in Singapore as a teacher. It's not I'm blaming but okay, where I taught in Philippines really gave me a very good so-called, like, they molded me to become the best teacher. Okay, when I was teaching in the Philippines. And then after this, my tough decision to come here in Singapore to teach, I see a world beyond my teaching in Philippines. Because here, although I really need to adjust myself in many aspects and also away from my family, but when you ask me about the economic, about the difference of, as a teacher, what Philippines and what Singapore can give me, you times it 40 to 50 times. Okay, I don't need to share with you how much I'm earning, but it's 40 to 50 times of what I am getting in Philippines and in Singapore as a teacher.
Is there a social tension on that country?
Okay. Anywhere you go, there is definitely a social tension. Okay, even in Philippines, we also have different nationalities in Philippines. Let's say here in Singapore, I will just give you one very good example. That was few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago in Singapore. Now, after 10:30 p.m., you cannot buy alcohol in any shops. Automatic, all the shops here, they cannot sell you alcoholic drinks. Why? Where that law, where that restriction came from? It started when there was a bus driver driving a bus who is a Chinese national, and then when he was actually driving, he didn't notice that there is one Indian national that passed by, crossed the street, and he hit him. So that car, and then this guy hit, and then I don't know whether that I can't recall. Okay, so when this Indian national hit by this Chinese driver, almost all, and the place is like 80-90% are Indians. The place here, like we call it as Little India, because 80-90% are Indians. So when they saw that they're an Indian also hit by someone with different nationality, what they did was they banged the bus, they hit they really make a chaos. And also even the police, they cannot stop the Indian national. And that hits a big history here in Singapore. Why? That was the first time that a social conflict visibly seen by all the people here in Singapore live via Facebook, because here in Singapore, for how many years since Singapore opened as a country, here you cannot hear news about crimes in Singapore. But that was the first time. And that also hit the social conflict between Chinese and Indians. Because can you imagine, they even deported a lot of Indian nationals. That incident only, but triggered the social conflict between Indians and Chinese. And that also where it started, because the Indian actually was drunk. And that is the time when they strictly implemented, after 10:30, you cannot sell alcoholic drinks. Even though government here, they are really promoting racial harmony. But that incident, why I shared with you, that incident triggered the social conflict between different culture here in Singapore. Okay. Well, I hope I can share with you, not just talk.
We know that being a Filipino, we can escape discrimination. There are a lot of circumstances or events in life where other nationality throwing a lot of bad words. Now, do you find discrimination on that specific country? Is there a scenario you've experienced being tan or black? Because we are Filipino.
Okay, there's something. Actually, I am not very sure. I think you are still not alive that time. There was this incident, one of domestic helper here, where she died because floor contemplation. Okay, that floor contemplation, she is actually a domestic helper here, but she was sentenced life death sentence. Okay, that also, and also because the people here, they are very angry. They want, here you gather, let's say 5 people, you gathered, and you want, like in Philippines, right? For example, you want to fight for something, you go to now is very timely election time, right? In Singapore, you cannot do that. Okay, you cannot even you like BBM, you like Lenny, you cannot do that one here bluntly. You will be catched by the police and you will be imprisoned, you will be deported to your country. Okay, so now that time, because of course we can understand the Filipinos that time, they really wanted floor contemplation not to be killed. I forgot. I think like that sentence. What they did was they even disrespect the flag of Singapore. They burn it. They even step on it. They are here in Singapore. That time, you cannot see any Philippine flag here. Why? How can you, as a Filipino, disrespect our flag? In Philippines, right? When you were young, remember, you cannot even put the flag on the floor. You cannot even the red on top, blue below. That shows disrespect. So that time, Filipino bluntly showed their disrespect to Singapore government. Okay, That is one. And majority of the people here can say 20-30% are domestic helper. Okay, those domestic helpers who are Filipino, some of them, we cannot say all, some of them, they don't know how to respect themselves. Actually, where I stop, I just want to emphasize that one. Racial discrimination, right? Racial discrimination is anywhere. It's just how you adopt and adjust yourself. You cannot be discriminated. Like for me, imagine, I'm a Filipino. I'm holding the highest position here in the school. Who are below me? Local. And also imagine gender wise, here for Indians, right? They have this culture because my company, my CEO, my founder is an Indian. In India, as a lady, you cannot, you just need to stay at home. You cannot imagine, let's say husband and wife walking on the road. When I was in India, the wife should be behind. The wife should be behind the husband, carrying the luggage, carrying the bag. That's how they discriminate the ladies and the guys. They still follow the old tradition. Okay. So can you imagine how I need to adjust myself, how I need to prove myself to anyone? Because it's not about the gender, but because of the belief, the practice, the culture here, like especially in a school. Imagine, usually director, old locals, and usually guys. Then they can see a bit young, all right, and then a Filipino and a lady facing them representing a school. So it's always a challenge. Discrimination, yes, but we just need, we are capable. Okay. Yes, go to your last question.
This will be the last question. Have
Yes.
you gained mutual understanding from every culture? Does it help in eliminating stereotype way of thinking?
Yes, but every day is still an adjustment for me. Can you imagine that I'm handling 100 plus students every day? Hold on, okay. I'm handling 100 plus students and I need them to follow me. Wherever you are, let's say, for example, when this pandemic started, can you imagine for a teacher, so you should be nice to your teacher, okay? Having an online class is not really an easy job for a teacher. Can you imagine, worse is for me. It's not just online class, but they are from different countries. Okay, some of them, they are still in their own country. Some of them, they are here in Singapore, but it's online. So I really need to show that I am their teacher, and it's actually how the cultural diversity, right? In terms of culture, as I was sharing with you earlier, it is everywhere and anywhere. And anytime you can experience that one, but you just need to know. Here in Singapore, Singapore is called as a fine city, FINE. If you do things that is not according to their law, okay, whatever nationality you come from, even you are from Western country, you don't follow their regulation, you need to pay for penalty. So here, there are different culture, but everybody, wherever you come from, you need to follow because you are here in Singapore. As simple as that. It's not the government or the country will adjust for you. You choose to be here, you adjust yourself. Okay? So you come here. Now Singapore is already open for tourists. So you come here. You can see whatever I'm sharing with you.
So that's all po. Thank you so much for taking time to talk today. Once again, Mrs. Annalyn de Guzman, a Senior Academic Director in Singapore. Hindi pa ako nadinig.
It's my pleasure. Okay? So I hope I shared with you about cultural diversity. Okay, just inspiration now talk. Although I'm always as hospital. What is your course? Tourism.
Yes po.
Tourism, right? Tourism. You're talking about cultural diversity, which is a very good topic that your teacher must emphasize. I'm sharing this as a teacher also who started my teaching in the Philippines and now teaching students with cultural diversity. Okay, so being in tourism industry, from your classroom, you should be starting to adjust yourself and adopt with the different culture. Don't take it as they are discriminating you. You need to adjust yourself. Wherever you go, it's not the place who will adjust to you. It's you need to adjust yourself. Okay, you don't, for example, for Filipinos, we are very sensitive. Correct? We are very soft spoken. We always like, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. We are not direct people. But what if you come to a country, example, I just let's say in Singapore. Okay, here those vulgar words, it's not to become rude here, but it's a part of their everyday language. Sorry for the words. For example, WTF. I don't want to say. Yeah, when I was teaching here, first time I teach here in Singapore, when they are telling me the one, I almost cry also. Why? Because I thought like they are using vulgar words to me, but they say no, it's just part of our language. And just like my principal, because of course teacher, we need to call ma'am, right? Ma'am, sir. Here, when you say ma'am, let's say you call here ma'am Annalyn, hello, you don't call me ma'am Annalyn, you're not my maid. Can you imagine that? So what I am sharing with you, this experience for you, this take it seriously. Why? It will help you, especially when you choose to work abroad. When you choose, of course, your course, our course, hospitality and tourism, okay, for you want to become successful here, you want to work abroad. But from your course, from your class, from your school, okay, you need to start adjusting yourself and try to spend time learning the culture of different countries. For example, you want to come here in Singapore, just learn, observe is one way of learning. Observe, okay? Read a lot of information available before you step into the airplane, before you decide to go to the country. That is one reason why the people, especially those who choose to work abroad, that is the reason why they cannot be successful. Why? They got this word as culture shock. Correct? So they are not used, they cannot adopt they cannot adjust themselves, and they will tell at the end, this country is not for me. I will just go back to the Philippines. But they did not even adjust themselves and study the culture of the country. Okay, so I hope I shared with you something about that one. It's a very good topic that you really need you really need to uh take think, and then I want to see you all here in Singapore. Okay, and it's a very your course, even though despite of this pandemic, this is a very very now that many countries are already open, there is long way to go for you. Just study and successfully complete your course and prepare yourself wherever country you want to go. Prepare yourself with the culture so that you will not be culture shocked, and you will also soar high, okay, to become successful as a Bataeño, as a tourism graduate of PWU. Okay, so I hope I shared with you. Nice to give you some thoughts about cultural diversity.
For our second guest, let me call on Miss Iryn Moral.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent Navarro. Good day to everyone. Our second guest for this live she is a follow-up clerk in Dubai at the age of 27. She is currently positioned as follow-up clerk, none other than Miss Michelle Pablo.
Hello, good morning to all. Nainig niyo na ako?
Yes po.
Okay.
Okay, start na po sa question. Can you share some of your experience from other countries?
Yes. Okay, sure. So, Tagalog or English?
Pwede naman po kahit Tagalog po.
The first country that I've been in, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Sa experience ko ng pag-working doon as waitress, the first one, and then the second is waitress again, and this one is the third, is follow-up clerk in travel agency. Maganda naman yung mga experience ko about working there. Then, kasi sobrang ganda ng counting yun. Sobrang achievement maging residence doon, maging magkatrabaho doon sa countering yun. Kahit mahirap sa una, kasi magiging, mismo yung pamilya mo, nasa ibang bansa kasi nasa Pilipinas. Ayun lang, siguro muna.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay po. Can you share something about the cultural diversity that you experience? Can I try to proceed to the next question? Do you think it is related to tourism and hospitality industry?
Yes, because I'm working as follow-up clerk in Dubai.
Okay. Before going to a specific country to work on, do you think about cultural groups you might encounter?
Yes, because it's more important to know cultural background of your host country, understand better the culture and customs of the new people to meet there. You can also avoid making mistakes or causing offenses by misunderstanding local customs and their ways of life.
In the country you choose to work on, do you consider studying their culture, religion, and their ethnicity, language, health, differences, geographic location? If yes, explain. And if no, why not? Like how you prepare?
Yes, I'm as aware of cultural differences, and I keep open-minded that life there is different from what I'm used to our country.
At first day of being in Dubai, have you experienced anything about their society? If it's good or bad?
Oo, madaming pagkakaiba talaga sa Pilipinas at dito. Yung first time kong mag-travel doon as a tourist. Yung mga kasuotan nila, mga pagsalita nila, mga pagkain, ganun. At saka ang oras lalo, ibang-iba.
Okay po. Sa tingin niyo po ba, nagkaroon po ba kayo ng mga language barrier? Or nahirapan po kayo magsalita? Kasi di ba po, as in other country, merong mga different language na yung ginagamit nila.
Yeah, sobrang hirap. Kahit marunong ka mag-English, fluent or hindi fluent, mahihirapan ka pa rin intindihin yung salita nila eh. Kasi the way they speak, sobrang ibang-iba. Ganun. Pero may
Okay.
mga tutukan pa rin naman ako sa kanila, sa mga language nila.
Sa tingin niyo naman po sa kanilang economic status, meron po ba ng pagkakaiba yung nandito ka sa Pilipinas and nandun ka sa Dubai?
Yeah, sobrang laki ng pagkakaiba kasi more developed country yung Dubai kaysa dito sa Pilipinas.
Okay po. Habang nandun po kayo sa may Dubai, naka-experience po ba kayo ng discrimination from other countries po? And what is specific po yung parang na-feel nyo po na dinidiscriminate po kayo?
Wala naman kasi sa kanila kilala nila yung mga Pilipino eh. Pagdating sa mga Pilipino, parang laging positive yung sinasabi nila. Pag nagtatrabaho yung mga Pilipino, sobrang as in lahat magagawa nila. Parang ganun ba?
As po dun sa may pagtatrabaho nyo po bilang follow-up checker, sa tingin nyo po ba, sa pagtatrabaho nyo po na yun, naging diverse po ba yung workplace nyo?
Oo, kasi madami akong iba't ibang tao yung nakakausap ko. 'Di ba? Iba-ibang lahi. Pag nagpapabook sila ng mga ticket, yun.
In terms po dun sa may pinagtatrabahuhan nyo po, meron po ba kayong na-experience na positive or negative scenarios po? Like yung for example po, 'di ba po, tayong mga Pilipino, we are hospitable and we claim po na we set some standards while working po.
Oo, lahat naman ng trabaho may positive at saka negative na masasabi sa'yo. 'Di ba? Kaya hindi natin masabi na pwede kang sabihan ng positive or negative thoughts.
'Di ba po na doon po kayo nagtatrabaho, meron din po bang mga times na parang negative po yung naging feedback sa pagtatrabaho niyo po? Or any experience po na meron po?
Oo, meron naman mga experience na talagang sabihan nilang negative yung nagawa mo or positive.
Okay po, dito po sa may pang last question po namin, sa tingin niyo po, nagkaroon po ba kayo ng mutual understanding po since magkakaiba po yung culture na meron po dun sa ibang bansa and dito po sa atin?
Yes. Naging parang more open in learning new knowledge ako from that country.
Okay po, thank you po.
In today's globalized world, it is almost impossible to disregard diversity everywhere we go. Singapore is a great example. Try walking down Orchard Road. Chances are you'll come across people of diverse backgrounds at a stone's throw. This in turn would impact diversity in the workplace, and being able to communicate well is key to building strong interpersonal relationships.
Thank you, Miss Iryn Moral. Again, we would like to express our appreciation to Ma'am Annalyn de Guzman and Ma'am Michelle Pablo. And now, allow me to express how lucky we are introducing to you also one of the most intellectual professional that have been imparting their expertise to tourism industry with her beauty and brain. She is a former Philwomanian, graduated Bachelor of Science in Tourism Management from Philippine Women's University CDCEC Bataan. She's been working as a senior cabin crew at AirAsia. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome our special guest for today's live session, Ma'am Mary Lois Venturina. Hello, Ma'am Mary Rose.
Hello.
Hello po.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. So yun nga, add to that, I've been working with the aviation for almost 6 years. 2 years with Skyjet Airlines and now 4 years with AirAsia. Yun lang, add ko lang yun. Thank you.
Once again, we are really grateful po and lucky for taking your time with us with this live session. For your first question po, ma'am, what is your current work and how long have you been working on that job po?
Yes, yan, as I mentioned a while ago, I'm working as a senior cabin crew for AirAsia, Philippines AirAsia. Then with aviation industry naman, 6 years na ako. 2 years with Skyjet Airlines as a senior cabin crew then. Then 4 years with Philippines AirAsia po. Senior cabin crew. So lead. Nagli-lead na ako sa isang flight.
Okay po. So is your life really related to the tourism and hospitality industry? What might be the reasons po kaya na pinili nyo yung industry?
Ako kasi since bata pa ako, share ko lang, nung mga nasa elementary ako, parang ang tingin sa akin, medyo matangkad kasi ako eh. So ang tingin sa akin ng mga tao, parang bagay sa'yo mag-flight attendant, ganon. Then it just so happened na meron akong tita na flight attendant sa PAL. Then nung nakita ko siya, parang na-inspire ako na, gusto ko rin maging flight attendant. Kasi parang hindi ko ma-imagine yung self ko na parang mag-work sa office. So I love meeting different cultures, different kind of people. Parang mahilig akong gumala, kaya yun. Kaya napili ko talaga tourism. Kaya nung college ako, hindi na ako nagdalawang isip. Tourism na talagang kinuha ko as course.
Okay po. How about the countries? What countries have you visited already po?
For the countries, mostly lang, ASEAN lang naman eh. Like Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. Yan pa lang yung mga napuntahan ko. And soon sana ibang sa ibang continent naman. Ayun.
Like European countries.
Sana, soon.
Are you aware to any cultural diversity po?
Yes, for the cultural diversity, when it comes to cultural diversity, this is the differences with ethnic groups, language barrier, kasama dyan yung mga differences sa isang country. And ayun, aware naman ako. Pero mostly sa ASEAN countries na napuntahan ko, kasi since one continent lang, medyo konti lang yung pagkakaiba. Okay. Yun. Aware naman tayo dyan.
Okay po. For the next question po, for example, you went to Singapore. So before going to that specific country, do you think about the cultural groups you might encounter?
Oo naman, syempre, super. Kasi, as a traveler, syempre, aside from working as a flight attendant, syempre, I travel for leisure din eh. As a traveler, parang kailangan mo din maging responsible, malaman kung ano yung meron sila, need to respect their culture, like their laws. Best example is sa Singapore, bawal ang mag-spit bawal dumura. Here in the Philippines, we all know that it's normal. Kahit ang pangit, di ba? And like, kasama na rin doon yung bawal din mag-chewing gum sa Singapore. So yun, may mga ganung bagay na parang kailangan, kasama na rin yun sa cultural diversity kasi masabi ko, part na rin siya ng pamumuhay nila doon.
Okay po. How about studying their culture, religion, like their ethnicity, language, health differences? Like how do you prepare yourself po?
Yung mga basic, for the language naman, mga basic lang naman eh. Like yung sa Malaysia, yung mga basic lang, may yung parang yung word na may salamat din sila eh. So yung food, sa food din nila, parang mahilig ang mga Malaysian sa spicy curry. Ganon. So nag-training kasi ako sa AirAsia, sa Malaysia siya ginanap. So yun, nasanay kami na ang food laging may spicy, may tinatawag silang nasi lemak, yun yung parang nila, brand nila. I mean, yun yung kumbaga sa Philippines, kilala tayo sa mga like sa mga parang tayo diba ng rice, mangoes, ganyan. Sila parang kilala sila sa mga food. Adobo yan. Tayo pag sinabing adobo, Philippines di ba? So sila, nasi lemak, sanayan lang din eh. So, kailangan tayong mag-adapt sa mga way nila paano sila mamuhay kasi we are not on our country. So we have to abide the laws, something like that.
Okay po. So at first being in other country, have you experienced anything about their society? Like is it good or bad? Maybe you can share po experience or tell us.
For the society. Paano ba? For the society, I'll tell the good side na lang. For me, sa Singapore, i-share ko lang, sobrang ganda nung pamamalakad nila doon. Like, walang traffic. So, yun. Walang traffic doon. And napaka-responsible ng mga tao doon. Kapag ang lane is pa-left, pa-right, pina-follow nila yon. Then, hindi din uso yung siksikan eh. Saka sobrang ang mahalaga ang oras sa kanila, parang sa atin kasi parang may bagal session tayo eh. Parang, for example, o-order ako sa Jollibee. Then, hindi ko manila lahat. It's just based on my experience. May time na may mga workers na parang, instead na diretso work, parang may time pa makipag-chikahan like that. Sa Singapore, parang diretso work talaga sila. As in, wala silang time para tumika. Ganon. Sobrang ang strict nila sa ganon. Which is, for me, okay siya kasi tingnan niyo naman yung Singapore. Sobrang ang bilis din ng internet doon. Kaya, di ba, parang ang ganda rin ng economic growth or level ba, kung masabi ko. Something like that. And sa bad side naman, paano ba sa bad side? Sige, magbigay tayo ng bad side. Kasi good side yung nasabi ko kanina. Sa bad side naman na masabi ko, ayun lang, kapag yung ito another pala sa good side, sa Singapore, kahit matanda ka na, you can work. As in, may nakikita ko doon mga naka-wheelchair, nagtatrabaho sila. Yun yung sa good side nila na parang okay lang kahit wala sa kanila yung edad eh. Sa atin kasi 'di ba parang may edad na pag itong age ka na hindi ka na pwede mag-work, bahay ka na lang. Parang may ganun tayo eh. Sa kanila as long as you are healthy, you can work. Just work. And sa bad side naman, yung i-differentiate ko, siguro sa society, paano ba? Pag sa bad side, masabi ko, ayun, sa society, masabi ko, tayo kasi mga Filipino, in case of may nangyayari sa ating mga sakuna, like typhoon, like mga lindol, ganyan. We keep smiling. Alam mo yun, pag may camera, siguro part na rin ng culture natin yan na parang sobrang positive tayo. Unlike the other countries na parang sila talaga, pag in-interview mo talaga, as in talagang wala kang makikitang ganun eh. Diba? Sa mga interviews tayo, parang may interview na tao na anong naganap, ba't nasunugan? Tapos sa likod makikita may mga tao, mga nasunugan, nag-hi-hi pa sila. Di ba mga ganon? Sobrang positive ng mga Filipino eh. Then sa ibang country, masabi ko parang sa kanila, hindi sila ganon eh. So part na rin ng society nila na sa attitude and sa culture nila na parang tayo mga Filipino, we are optimistic kahit gano'ng kalala yung nangyari. Di ba? Yun.
Okay pa. Tell us about naman po sa language barrier scenario. Are they having, for example, in a specific country, is there, are they having hard time speaking universal language?
Mostly naman, sa ASEAN naman, they can speak English. The problem is, nagkakatalo lang tayo sa sa tinatawag na parang yung tone ba yun? What we call it, this one?
Parang how they pronounce the words.
Oo, how they pronounce, parang ganon. The pronunciation, minsan parang mapapatanong kaya mapapaulit mo. So barrier agad yun eh. Yung nami-mispronounce nila yung words. Though, alam naman natin, English is a universal and di naman tayo pinanganak na magaling agad tayo mag-English. So, they can learn naman. And also, we as Filipino din naman, hindi naman lahat na magaling mag-English. Ano lang talaga, is just kailangan namang understanding, patience, lalo na kung wala ka sa country mo and you are using the universal language. Don't expect na sila, they will use the universal language. Kasi, ikaw yung nasa country nila eh. So, expect na sila ikaw yung makikibagay. So, pag ganun, habaan mo lang pasensya mo, make a research, and tip ko lang, medyo aral-aral ka ng konting mga basic language nila para hindi ka rin malos. And sobrang high-tech na natin. Pwede mong i-type yung mga sinasabi nila. Sobrang use Google. As in, sobrang nakakatulong yan. Ako nung nag-Singapore ako, medyo, ako sa nila parang medyo, may mga words silang hindi ko maintindihan. Like, napag-mix nila ang English sa language nila na parang, ganon. So, for me, to help myself, I Googled it.
Okay po, ma'am. For the next questions, let me call on Miss Laila Mariano. Laila, you can ask ma'am.
So to continue po yung questions, we know that being Filipino po, we can escape discrimination. There are a lot of circumstances or events in life where other nationality throwing a lot of bad words. So for the questions po, do you find discrimination on that specific country po? Although discrimination is everywhere, is there a scenario po you've experienced? For example, being tan or black skin color because we are Filipino po.
So for that one, I may say na I haven't experienced yet kasi nga ASEAN country pa yung napupuntahan ko. Pero let me share out of the topic na pero same ng thought. I've experienced na hindi naman sa country ng tao na yon. It's just here in the Philippines. So, di ba, I work as a flight attendant. So, I meet a lot of people. I meet different races. So, yun, talagang meron pa din talaga tayong tinatawag na racism talaga. Which is very bad na nowadays kailangan na natin tanggalin yan. Kasi sobrang pangit ng ugali na yan. As in, to the point na parang, inano ba kayo ng color ng tao? We Filipinos, we are also tan. So, good thing lang, hindi pa ako naka-experience talagang tayo yung pero yun nga, may mga ethnic groups tayo, like Aitas, sila talaga yung nakaka-experience ng ganyan eh. As in, super eh. Tayo din naman nakaka-experience, pero sa experience ko, wala pa naman yung nasa ibang bansa ako. Pero yun, dito tayo sa country natin, like yun nga, sa work experience ko, may konti akong napapansin na parang kapag naitabi itong puti sa tan color, parang ayaw nila. May ganun pa din eh. Hindi siya mawala. Yun yung mahirap eh. Nagkakaroon pa rin ng discrimination. Though kami, kapag ganun ang nangyayari, I will not mention the flight. I will not mention the airline na kasi 2 airlines naman ako eh. Basta it just so happen na ayaw niya tumabi sa Filipina kasi white siya. So, full load yun. Ang kinukwento ko to during flight Hindi to sa ibang bansa, here in the Philippines yan. So parang ako, as a Filipino, syempre parang naawa ako dun sa kapwa Pilipino natin. Parang bakit ayaw mo? Ako yung in charge sa flight na yun. So yun. I'll just tell the the airline. That was in Skyjet. So that was in my previous naman yun. Kasi ang Skyjet kasi ang mga flight patong Pilipina para lang hindi mo siya katabi dahil black skin siya or tan skin kami. So in-explain ko lang sa passenger. So the passenger still aggravated. So sabi ko sa kanya, if you don't want to follow us, I'll just call the captain, and yun, kinol ko si captain. Then sabi niya, if di daw talaga, ayaw daw talaga pacify ng pasahero na yun, pababain daw. Ganon.
So, for the next question po, have you experienced working in really diverse workplace?
For the diverse, yes naman. I've worked with a diverse place naman. Me, I'm working with AirAsia right now. We have a different, tinatawag na different Iba't ibang ang AirAsia kasi hindi lang siya sa Philippines eh. So, different nationalities yung mga nandito, like Malaysians, Indians. So, dito sa Philippines, sa office namin, meron kaming mga ilan-ilan na Indians. As per I check talaga. Parang may mga Malaysians din kami eh. Kinokontak kami. So, with the diverse setup namin, it's okay naman. Ang namin is respect lang talaga. For example, sa Malaysia, meron silang tinatawag na parang kasi Muslim country ang Malaysia eh. And the AirAsia is a Malaysian country eh. Own siya ng Malaysia. So tayo, itong Philippines AirAsia is branch lang siya ni Malaysia AirAsia. Branch lang tayo eh. So ang pinaka-main is the Malaysia. So own tayo ni Malaysia. Nag-branch lang si Malaysia dito sa Philippines. So yun, okay naman. Maganda naman yung working experience. Actually, mas nakakatuwa kasi you learn the different culture, languages. Makikita mo, ay, sineselebrate pala nila to, ganyan-ganyan. May ganon. Meron silang tinatawag na sa mga Malaysian. May sineselebrate sila tuwing parang something like August, ganon, bago mag-Ramadan. Hindi ako sure, pero nakikiselebrate din tayo. And sila, sa Christmas natin, nakikiselebrate din sila. So yun, nagkakaroon naman ng mutual understanding. Kaya sa workplace namin, walang problema. Sobrang okay talaga, smooth and masaya.
For our last questions na po, have you gained mutual understanding from every culture? Does it help in eliminating stereotype way of thinking?
Ayan, as I mentioned a while ago, yes, it's okay naman. We have a mutual understanding. Kasi the key to have a good work relationship, kahit anong nationality niyan, is respect. So, we are respecting their culture, they are respecting our culture, we are respecting their religions. Like I've said, Malaysian is a Muslim country. Then Philippines is a Catholic country, diba? So, it's okay. As in, sobrang okay lang. Respect lang talaga. Kasi walang personalan kapag sa work. Work is work. Ganon. And share ko lang, with AirAsia, with our company, with our airlines, maganda ang culture ng airline namin kasi we are open for everything. As long it is helpful, it is beautiful, why not, diba? So, yun.
Alright po, Ma'am Mary Lois. Thank you so much po. Thank you so much po for your time. And we are so lucky po na na-invite po namin kayo sa ganitong interview. And I think sa part namin as a student, tourism student, madadagdagan yung motivation and yung feeling na inspired kami to still continue pursuing being a flight attendant or being in the industry.
Oo, i-push nyo. Third year na kayo. Ayun, again, third year na kayo, no? Lapit na yan. Pagka-graduate nyo, alam nyo, sakto-sakto yung pagka-graduate nyo kasi pa-end na ng pandemic. So, mag-apply agad kayo. Ako, ang tip ko sa inyo, apply lang kayo ng apply. Don't lose hope. Ako, hindi naman isang applyan, tanggap agad. No. It's one in a million mangyayari yung gano'n na parang first time mag-apply, tanggap agad. So, may nangyayaring gano'n. So, pero most of the time, hindi talaga kasi you have to improve yourself and be ready lang. Kapag hindi kayo natanggap, just improve yourself. Pero huwag kayo mawalan ng pag-asa lang na mag-apply lang. Kasi if you want to get this job or to be on that job, do your best lang. Ganun lang naman eh. Kakayanin nyo din yun.
you to our three special guests for this live webinar, Mrs. Annalyn de Guzman, Ms. Michelle Pablo, and Mrs. Mary Louise Ventura. May all information disseminate for use to spread awareness and enlighten to everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar. I am Chrisbelle Joy Nadong, along with the team, Mr. Mark Justin Mangubat, our virtual event planner and act tech support, Ms. Laila Mariano as event specialist and co-presenter, and Ms. Iryn Moral and Mr. Vincent Navarro stand as host organizations. Once again, thank you and stay safe everyone.